Hello, my name is Brenda Gamboa, and I'm the Graduation Initiative 2025 Financial Aid Counselor. Today, I'll be going over how to maintain your financial aid eligibility throughout your time at Cal State Fullerton. When it comes to financial aid, you need to be aware of situations that can impact your financial aid eligibility. We need to have a valid FAFSA application on file. Your enrollment status plays a big part of it as well. And you need to make sure you're meeting Satisfactory Academic Progress, which is also known as SAP. When it comes to your FAFSA application, we need to make sure that you have a valid EFC. And if you're selected for verification, then you must submit those verification items. And after your file is reviewed, then you'll be able to get your final award letter. Now, if you submit your FAFSA and then you log back in to make any corrections, and by doing so, you now have a rejected FAFSA, then you no longer are eligible for financial aid. You would have to go back and fix the issue. You can contact our office for any assistance if that does happen to you. Enrollment status also plays a big part of it because if you make changes to your schedule, that could potentially leave you with a balance. So we definitely do advise that you complete your class adjustments by the add or drop deadlines. When it comes to satisfactory academic progress, we measure your GPA, PACE, and Unit CAP. In order to keep your financial aid every academic year, you need to make sure you're meeting your SAP. Now, when it comes to financial aid purposes, we do have what we call a census date for both fall and spring. The census date is the point at which your enrollment status is locked for financial aid purposes, and you must register for all courses or make necessary adjustments for the semester prior to or during the add-drop period. For example, if you registered full-time at the beginning of the semester and then drop credits before the financial aid census date, your financial aid is then revised to match your eligibility based on the number of credits enrolled and may adjust your financial aid. So it's really important that you are aware of these dates, and they are available on Student Business Services website. The census date for fall 2022 was September 19th, and the census date for spring 2023 is going to be February 21st, 2023. You can scan the QR code and it'll take you directly to the website. Keep in mind that this website is updated every academic year, so you can go on here to see what the next census dates will be. Now, if you are a financial aid recipient, if you increase or decrease your credit load before the census date, your financial aid may be adjusted. And if your financial aid is reduced and it creates a balance, you will be responsible for payment to Student Business Services. The aid that's affected due to census is your federal Pell Grant and your Cal Grant. This is a sample email. So if you make any adjustments prior to census, this is the email notification that you will get from our office explaining that you made changes to your schedule, and that's going to be impacting your financial aid. Now, after September 19th, which was census, you'll be notified by Student Business Services if you have a balance due to the changes that you made to your credit load. If you do have a balance with Cal State Fullerton, you will not be able to register for the next semester until the balance is paid. So sometimes situations happen where you completely have to withdraw from school, and if you completely withdraw from classes, regardless of the situation, there are penalties for your financial aid. You were giving funding for school based on you completing the full semester. Therefore, if you withdraw before the 60% mark of the semester, you will be responsible for any balances. The 60% mark for fall 2022 is October 26, 2022. And the 60% mark for spring 2023 is April 5th, 2023. You can scan the QR code as well, and it'll take you directly to Student Business Services website, where you can see if you end up withdrawing fully from the semester, you will see how basically what's impacted in your financial aid. So again, if you hit the 60% mark And if you fully withdraw, then there will be no balances to pay. Now, if you completely withdraw from your classes, keep in mind that even though you don't have a balance, what gets affected is your Satisfactory Academic Progress, which is also known as SAP. And then you may be asking, what is SAP? Well, the Department of Education considers a satisfactory academic progress policy to be reasonable if it meets both the qualitative and quantitative criteria, which includes your GPA, PACE, and Unit CAP. At Cal State Fullerton, we have 3 different categories of students that we evaluate SAP on. So we have undergraduates, credentials, and graduate students. All 3 categories are held to the same quantitative measurement, PACE, and max timeframe, but each category has different qualitative measurements, which is GPA. Currently, there are 921 students each year who lose financial aid eligibility after their academic performance is evaluated. The qualitative standard is grade point average or GPA measure that a student must have at each evaluation. The quantitative measure includes PACE and maximum timeframe. There are some programs that are approved beyond the 150% standard unit cap. You can go ahead and scan the QR code and it'll take you directly to those special programs that are actually have a larger unit cap. When it comes to the undergraduate student's GPA, if you are an undergraduate student, you have to make sure that you are meeting your 2.0 GPA, which is at least a C average. If you are an undergraduate student, you need to make sure that you're hitting your PACE, which is 66.67% of your cumulative attempted units to earned units. So here is a formula. If you look at the 2 examples below, it shows you how one student is meeting SAP and how one student is not. So in the first example, we have the student who earned 23 units, and we divide that by the total cumulative attempted units. So the student attempted 29, and that gives us a 79.31%. So in this scenario, the student is meeting PACE. Now, in the second scenario, the student earned 23 units, but attempted a total of 44. So when we divide 23 by 44, the student is at 52.27%. So in this scenario, the student is not meeting SAP. So keep in mind that all units are accounted for on your transcript, both attempted and earned. When it comes to the unit cap, federal regulations require that you complete your academic program with 150% of the standard time frame of your program. So here, as an undergraduate, in order for you to get your degree, you need to complete 120 units, but you're able to take up to 180 units. Now, if you are over 180 units, that means that you are not in the standard unit cap, meaning that you no longer are eligible for financial aid. Students who tend to meet this, who tend to hit their unit cap, are usually the double majors. So if you are a double major, make sure that you keep this in mind. For credential students, if you are in the credential program, your GPA is 2.5. The PACE remains the same, 66.67%, and the unit cap for credentials is 45 units. So in order for you to get your credential, you need to complete 30, but you are giving an extra 15 if anything does happen. But maximum is 45. If you are taking over 45 units in your credential program, then you're no longer eligible for financial aid. For graduate students, your GPA requirement is 3.0. The PACE, again, is the same, 66.67%, and the unit cap is 45 units. So for graduate students, typically you need to complete 30 units to get your degree, but you have up to 15. And like I mentioned, there are some programs that have a larger unit cap. So if you scan the QR code, it'll take you directly to that website and it'll show you what programs have a larger unit cap. So if you don't meet SAP, you will be getting an email sent the first week of July explaining which category of SAP you're not meeting. So the email can either state that you're not meeting GPA and PACE, GPA or unit cap but the email will explain to you why you're not meeting SAP. So this is a sample email. In this sample email, the student is not meeting SAP because their GPA was 2.558. This example is actually a graduate student. As you know, the GPA requirement is 3.0. The student is at 2.5 and therefore was not meeting SAP. If you are meeting SAP, then there will be no email communication sent to you. You would only be getting this email if you're not meeting SAP. Now, if you're not meeting SAP, again, you'll be notified the first week of July that you're not meeting SAP. We have to wait after spring semester to calculate your SAP. And then keep in mind, if you don't meet SAP after spring, your summer aid may be impacted if you are taking some summer courses. For the SAP appeal process, you'll be able to access the SAP appeal form in the email sent to you, or you can download the form on our website and complete to be considered for financial aid eligibility. You will need to explain what happened in the academic year that affected your SAP, and you will need to explain what steps you're taking to become successful and provide documentation, such as a doctor's note, work schedule, letters from a professor, and our campus partner. If your SAP appeal is approved, you'll be notified via email. If your SAP appeal is approved, then you will be granted aid for either one probationary semester or an academic plan spanning multiple semesters depending on the specific circumstance. We will continue to monitor your SAP after each semester to determine if you're eligible for financial aid for the subsequent term. If your SAP appeal is granted for a probationary semester, you must make SAP after your approved term, or the SAP status will be again suspended. If your appeal is approved for an academic plan, you must meet the conditions of the plan each term, or the SAP status will again be suspended. If SAP is suspended, you won't be eligible for financial aid. You will regain financial aid eligibility conditionally into your meeting SAP. If your SAP appeal is denied, you will be notified via email why it was denied. And if your SAP appeal is denied, then at that point, you are no longer eligible for financial aid. Now, if your SAP appeal is denied, you can still continue to attend CalState Fullerton, but you must be aware that because you're no longer eligible for financial aid, you must pay out of pocket or apply for a private loan. You can also do a stop out and then enroll at a community college to regain eligibility on your own for your GPA and PACE only. And you can take a stop out semester to not lose your CSUF student status. So some things to consider is if you opt to take a stop out and attend another higher ed institution, you must return within one semester to maintain your CSUF student status. No paperwork is necessary. You will have an enrollment appointment window for the next semester. If you take a stop out longer than one semester, you must reapply to CalState Fullerton as a returning student. You need to make sure you have a FAFSA or CDA application on file before you return. If you make SAP on your own by continuing to attend CalState Fullerton and paying out of pocket or with non-federal aid, or return back to CalState Fullerton with additional transfer units, you will still need to appeal with our office to be considered for financial aid. This is called the SAP recalculation, and the form can be downloaded from our website. So you can scan the QR code and it'll take you directly to our website where you can get the form. Thank you so much for your time, and the chat will be open for any questions that you may have. Thank you.